Om Sri Sai Ram. Offering pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. I am trying to explain slokas 62 and 63 from chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, namely Sānkhya Yoga. Sai Ram, you may please listen till the end, and if you are pleased, you may please subscribe to this channel by using the given link. Now, to begin with the sloka 62, which is as follows: dhyāyato viṣhayān puṁsaḥ saṅgas teṣhūpajāyate saṅgāt sañjāyate kāmaḥ kāmāt krodho bhijāyate. The meaning of this is, while contemplating on the objects of the senses, one develops attachment to them. Attachment leads to desire, and from desire, anger. Now the commentary goes like this: anger, greed, lust, etc. are considered in the Vedic scriptures as manasa roga or diseases of the mind. The Ramayana states manasa roga kachhuka maenge nahi sabke lakhi birale nhape. Verse 53, this is, we are all aware of the diseases of the body. Even a single bodily ailment has power to make one's whole day miserable. But we do not realize that we are being continuously tormented by multiple mental ailments. And since we do not recognize lust, anger, greed, etc. as mental diseases, we do not try to cure them. Psychology is a branch of human knowledge that attempts to analyze those ailments and propose solutions to them. However, both the analysis and the solution presented by Western psychology leave much to be desired and appear to be gross approximations of the reality of the mind. In this and the subsequent verse, Krishna has given perfect and penetrating insight in the functioning of the mind. He explains that when we repeatedly contemplate that there is happiness in some object, the mind becomes attached to it. For example, in a class there are a number of boys and girls, and they interact innocuously with each other. One day, one boy notices something about one girl and starts thinking, I would be happy if she were mine. As he continuously repeats this thought in his mind becomes attached to her. He tells his friends that he is madly in love with her and is unable to study because his mind repeatedly goes to her. Why is he losing his sleep and ruining his studies because of her? The fact is that repeatedly thought that there was happiness in the girl, and so his mind became attached to her. Now attachment seems quite innocuous by itself, but the problem is that from attachment comes desire for drinks, comes repeatedly to the mind. If one is attached to cigarettes, then thoughts of pleasure of smoking cigarettes repeatedly flow in the mind. In this way, attachment leads to desire. Once a desire develops, it gives birth to two more problems: greed and anger. Greed comes from the fulfillment of desire. जिमि प्रतिलोभ अधिकाई This is from Ramayana, verse 54. If you satisfy desire, it leads to greed. The desire is never eliminated by satiating it. Yat prithviyam yavam hiranyayam pashavah priya na duhyanti manaha प्रीतिम पुमासः काम हतन्यते हतस्यते. This is Bhagavatam 9.19.13 verse 55. If one person were to get all the wealth, luxuries and sensual objects in the world, that person's desire would still not be satiated. Hence, knowing it to be cause of misery, one intelligent person should renounce desire. On the flip side, what happens if the fulfillment of desire is obstructed? It gives rise to anger. Bear in mind that anger does not arise by itself. It is created from the obstruction of desire, and desire arises from attachment, while attachment comes from contemplation of the sense objects. In this manner, we see how simple act of contemplating the pleasures of the sense objects leads towards, to the twin diseases of greed and anger. In the next verse, Sri Krishna continues to the chain further down and explains the consequences of anger. Now Bhagavad Gita, sloka 63 of chapter 2 is as follows. Krodhād bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshad buddhinashat pranashyati. The meaning of this is anger leads to clouding of judgment, which results in bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, the intellect gets destroyed, and when the intellect is destroyed, one is ruined. Anger impairs judgment just as the morning mist creates a hazy covering on the sunlight. In anger, people commit mistakes that they later regret because the intellect gets clouded by the haze of emotions. People say he is 20 years elder to me. Why did I speak in this manner to him? What happened to me? What happened was that the faculty of judgment was affected by anger, and hence the mistake of scolding one elder was made. When the intellect is clouded, it leads to bewilderment of memory. The person then forgets what is right and what is wrong and flows along with the surge of emotions. The downward descent continues from there, and bewilderment of memory results in destruction of the intellect. And since the intellect is the internal guide, when it gets destroyed, one is ruined. In this manner, the path of descent from divinity, impiety, has been described, beginning with the contemplation on the sense objects to the destruction of the intellect. Om Sai Ram.